This is Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host, and this is a special episode of our trivia program here on Live Life Well TV called Did You Know? And we hope it's going to make you very hungry. Here's why. This episode, we offered trivia to you that you probably might not have known before, all in the name of the wonderful, wonderful world of food. Stay tuned. Before we go any further, we have two websites to acknowledge for this episode, BuzzFeed.com and Insider.com. So, are you ready? Here we go. Did you know that peaches and nectarines are actually essentially the same fruit? They're nearly genetically identical, except for one thing. A gene that's either dominant in peaches or recessive as it is in nectarines. That's what determines whether their skin happens to be fuzzy or smooth. Did you know that McDonald's fries were cooked in beef fat until 1990? Did you know that, and I love this one, fruit salad trees exist? These multi-grafted trees were first developed in Australia to grow up to, get this, 6 different types of fruit on one tree. So there you go. Did you know that German cake actually didn't originate in Germany? It's just called that because of a guy by the name of Sam German. He actually invented a kind of baking chocolate. The first published recipe for German's chocolate cake was actually written by a Texas homemaker. Did you know that Hawaiian pizza that many people love, the Hawaiian type of pizza, does not come from Hawaii? Hawaiian pizza was actually invented in Canada. Did you know that Otis Spunkemeyer is a combination of the names of football player Otis Sistrunk and popcorn maker Orville Redenbacher? The name was thought up by company founder Ken Rawlings' 12-year-old daughter. She was brilliant to combine both of those names to come up with Otis Spunkemeyer. I love it. Did you know that Spam is actually a mashup of the words spice and ham? Did you know that most wasabi, particularly if you happen to like sushi, you will know what wasabi is, but most wasabi is just horseradish that's dyed green. Real wasabi is difficult to grow, happens to be very expensive, and should really ideally be consumed within 15 minutes of being grated. Did you know that pineapples can take 2 to 3 years to grow? Did you know that Girl Scout cookies aren't consistent across the board? They're actually made by 2 very distinct bakeries. That means the cookies are slightly different. Did you know that cashews grow on cashew apples? Oh yes, that's right, we're all about shattering myths here. But cashews actually grow on cashew apples. Cashew apples are edible but better used in juices, jams, and chutneys since their flesh happens to be quite bitter. Did you know that before he got famous for his cookie recipe, Wally Amos was a talent agent who discovered some pretty big names? He signed Simon and Garfunkel, That's Garfunkel back in the day. I used to love them. How could I mispronounce their name? Sorry, guys. But yes, Wally Amos of famous Amos Cookies actually signed Simon and Garfunkel, and he also repped clients including the amazing Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye. Did you know that cilantro and fresh coriander are the same thing? Did you know that peppers have more vitamin C than oranges? About 2 or 3 times as much, thank you very much, depending on the color of the pepper. Did you know that this is horrible, many shredded cheeses and cereals contain cellulose? You know what cellulose happens to be? Wood pulp. Peter Eater, or cellulose, which is essentially sawdust, is often used in various shredded cheese products and cereals. Why? It actually prevents them from clumping. I kind of prefer to have them clump, knowing what we know now, don't you? Did you know that ketchup was once believed to have medicinal qualities that could cure, among other ailments, diarrhea? In the early 1800s, tomatoes were believed to have had medicinal qualities. Per Fast Company, a doctor in Ohio in the 1930s claimed that tomatoes could treat diarrhea as well as indigestion, and they published recipes for a kind of tomato ketchup that this doctor in Ohio, soon turned into a concentrated pill. Did you know that a typical ear of corn has an even number of rows? Leave it to Mother Nature. Ears of corn generally have an even number of rows, and if you really want to know how many rows that might be, it happens to be a usual 16 rows. You can go to sleep tonight knowing that that's the case, and you will sleep so much better, don't you think? Did you know that scientists can turn peanut butter into diamonds? That's right. You heard it here on Live Life Well TV. Scientists at a specific institute in Germany have discovered recently that since peanut butter happens to be so very rich in carbon, it's possible to turn simple Skippy into diamonds. All you need to do between you and me is extract the oxygen from the carbon dioxide found in the peanut spread, then enact immense pressure on the carbon left behind. So, if you decide to do that, do let us know how it works. If you happen to soon open a diamond jewelry store on Main Street, we'll know that this really works. As a matter of fact, we might even come in and be customers. How about that? And with that said, I'm sorry to announce that we have only 2 more Did You Knows at least for this Did You Know episode. But don't fret, don't cry, don't let a tear well up in your eye. Hey, that rhymes, I'm so good. Because you want to know why? Another rhyme. Oh my God, I'm amazing, don't you think? Here's why. Because there will be another episode of Did You Know next week, and there are many, and you know what? Even more episodes of Did You Know that we've placed here on Live Life Well TV for you in the past. They're still here. Look them up sometime. Why don't you? But here are 2 more Did You Knows for this food special. I'm having a feeling there might be a food special part 2 next week for Did You Know, but you'll have to wait a week to see. But here is the second to last Did You Know for this episode. Did you know that in 2018, Nabisco redesigned its iconic Animal Crackers box after PETA flagged it and protested it? The new design uncages the animals and puts them in the wild. So that means to say that if you picked up a box of Nabisco animal crackers before 2018, you would have seen vignettes of animals in cages, tigers, elephants, zebras, giraffes, so on and so forth. But since PETA said, excuse me, do they really need to be in cages? Can't you guys think of something else without it sacrificing your sales? And of course, thanks to Nabisco, they redid the images on the cover of their Animal Crackers box. Same wonderful animals, the cartoon drawings of them, but now they're kind of in the wild as opposed to behind cages. That's pretty cool. That brings us to the second last Did You Know for this episode. It goes like this. Did you know that lemons float, but limes sink? How is this possible? It's quite easy, my dear Live Life Well Tea viewers. It's possible because limes are slightly denser than lemons. And with that absolutely amazing, somewhat astounding fact, I will take my leave of you for this episode. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Maybe a little more, hopefully not too much less, and even more important that you learn some new things in the process, because our brains are always hungry for new information to digest. Ha! And that was a food episode. Oh, I love it when synchronicity happens. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host. See you next episode.